Isn't that crazy? It has a 39% on Rotten Tomatoes. But the
Not
audience
good.
score is 89%.
Hi, I'm Oliver the Ricketts. I don't know what movie we're seeing. What's the name of this movie?
The Upside. I'm Brittany, since Oliver doesn't want anybody else to be able to introduce themselves.
Sorry.
And I'm Jeremy.
Here's the thing. There was like no promotion on this movie, which is never a good sign. It reminds us of two different films. A lot of people like The Untouchables. This is the same fucking plot as The Untouchables, except that this looks like it's played up very much for laughs.
On my end of things, the more recent, more modern Me Before You, and he was paralyzed from the neck down, just like Bryan Cranston's character was, and they hire a quirky sort of maid nanny for him, caretaker, and they end up falling in love. So if Kevin Hart and Bryan Cranston don't fuck in this movie, I'm going to be disappointed.
I want them to kiss at least.
God. As long as it's done well. Now me, I haven't seen either of those movies, and so this reminds me of nothing.
Really bad sign. There's like no
No
push
press.
for this at all. And it's coming out in January, which is always a bad sign.
I'm going to look up what it has on Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't like Kevin Hart movies, to be honest with you.
Me neither.
And the only thing that's really got me here is I love Bryan Cranston, and I'll always show up to see Bryan Cranston act. That being said, he doesn't always pick the best roles, but he's never the problem.
I don't like Kevin Hart's movies. I don't think he's that funny.
I don't
'cause I don't
mind
like
Kevin
him.
Hart so much. I just think that, like, his thing is good in very small increments. Which a lot of comedians are like that. People say, like, Jim Carrey is like that. You have one thing that works for you, so you use it because you know it works.
Well,
It's just one of those things.
Yeah, and it just comes down to how much you like that thing. Like, I just like Jim Carrey's thing more than I like Kevin Hart's thing. Like, Kevin Hart is perfect like he was in 40-Year-Old Virgin. He shows up, and then he's gone.
Hopefully it's worth us seeing, and that we don't waste our time, because nobody likes to do that. Nobody wants to waste their time 2K19.
Whew. All right, it's cold. We just got out of seeing...
The Upside.
Before we jump into this, I do want to preface it by saying, if you haven't seen The Untouchables, it's a really good movie. And you can watch it for free on Amazon Prime.
Well, you have to pay for Amazon Prime.
I didn't know going in. This was based on The Untouchables. It's like an American version,
Yeah.
which I gotta say, I'm totally fine with. In fact, I'm really surprised at how much I enjoyed this movie.
Yep, me too. I was not anticipating it being good at all. I thought it was going to be a stupid movie. I thought with Kevin Hart as the lead, it was going to be But I did want to see it, and I was pleasantly surprised, which is all that you can hope for when you go to see a movie that you don't
Really
think is
wanna
going to be
see.
good.
There were parts where I was like, I wonder why Kevin Hart, because, like, I don't know,
Right.
whatever. And I'm not against the idea of him acting seriously, but it's like, I hearing the name Kevin Hart had me think this was going to be a completely different movie.
For about the first 45 minutes, I was sitting there kind of going, all right, let's pick up some steam here. That is a big problem. I won't deny that.
Right. I came out of it saying the only thing I didn't like is that I felt the beginning was kind of long-winded,
Right.
and then the ending wrapped up in 10 minutes.
But
So.
it's not bad at the beginning. I won't say that because it was showing me, okay, we could shape up to be a good movie. The problem was that I wasn't expecting them to. Because at one point I'm sitting there, I'm going, why the fuck did they get Bryan Cranston for this? To do the beginning, it doesn't require a whole ton of acting, and you got one of the best actors working today, in my opinion at least. And then on the other hand, why'd you get Kevin Hart? Because the character is not particularly funny. But then as the movie goes on, you start to see, oh, okay, these guys really have a good chemistry with each other. And then Kevin Hart, at least for me, turns in probably the thing that I've liked him in the most out of his whole career.
Yeah, the only other thing I enjoyed him in as much as this was probably in Jumanji. But, like, he was acting. He wasn't just doing the funny thing. He was acting. And
Right.
that's what I think worked for him.
Oh, even though I don't think Kevin Hart is that funny, it turns out he can carry a movie pretty well when he's not doing his shtick. And I really was caught off guard by that. I really, really liked that.
I was surprised at the idea that I liked Kevin Hart in this movie, and that I don't like Kevin Hart most of the time. But no, I mean, you said it. He did a really good job, you know?
Spoiler alert, they don't fuck.
Oh yeah.
He does, however, touch his penis, and he gets an erection. So
It's true.
I'm not totally dissatisfied.
Close.
If you want to see Bryan Cranston play a paraplegic getting a lap dance from a hooker, oh boy,
This is your movie.
do we have a movie for you?
I'll give it a solid B+. It might be a little bit of a generous rating. I'm thinking B+. Not a lot of movies I've seen recently I'd be like, oh, I'd watch that again. But, like, not that I'd go to the theater and watch it again, but if it came on one day and I was home and I was just relaxing, I was like, you know what? I'll put it on. I'll watch that. It was nice enough. It was almost like one of those movies, just like a kind of comfort movie.
I want to give it like a B, maybe B-. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it, I guess.
Gut reaction.
I don't fucking know.
That's not a gut reaction. For me, the best thing I can say about this movie is that it made a great turnaround. Because when I was watching it, I was planning on giving it a C+, but a really enthusiastic C+. You know, like, oh, it's not a bad movie, but it's, you know, a rental. And then we got to the end, and it worked its way up to a real solid B-. I do really like this movie. That's just a great thing to have happen.
Yeah. It's fun. It's a good time.
Alrighty then. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.